Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. Today I had originally planned on recording the video where I will show everybody our choices for homeschooling high school next year, because I will have a 9th grader and an 11th grader next year. But as I was thinking about the curriculum that we've chosen, or I should say lack thereof of curriculum that I've chosen, I realized that for those of you who really don't understand my homeschooling philosophy, you might look at it as being really, really sparse. So I thought that I would just clarify what I have actually learned from graduating my first homeschooler last year. Because yes, our oldest son, now he graduated from public school back in 2011. But last year, I actually graduated our second child, who was the first homeschooler that I have actually graduated. So from that experience and from reflecting on it, I have learned a lot of things that I think a lot of people don't realize, especially if you have never been through the process of homeschooling a high schooler yet. Now, a lot of people, a lot of homeschoolers will start out homeschooling with the plan of possibly sending their kids to high school when they get to that point, because it intimidates a lot of people. You know, they just think, how am I going to prepare my child, you know, for life outside of school, for college, for jobs, and all of these sorts of things. Yes, it's a huge responsibility, and it's something that really can scare a lot of people. So what I found that a lot of people do, which is something that I actually also did at first, is we tend to pile all sorts of academics on our kids in high school, and we can get overwhelmed. You know, we the parents can get overwhelmed, so imagine how our kids feel. So when I actually started homeschooling my daughter, who graduated last year, for high school, it didn't intimidate her all that much using all of these textbooks, because if you've been to my channel before or my blog, you know that I don't like textbooks, and most of my kids do not like textbooks. They're just not a good way for my children to learn. But my child who graduated last year, she was in public school longer than any of my other homeschooled children. So she grew very used to the whole textbook approach. So when I started homeschooling her for high school, she actually preferred that. She wanted textbooks. And I actually did try to talk her out of it at first, you know, telling her they're going to be boring and you're not going to like it. But she insisted she wanted to learn through textbooks. So that's really what we did start doing the first 2 or even 3 years of high school. So like for 9th through 11th grade, we really did have a very traditional sort of setup for her high school years, you know, with the biology and chemistry and geometry and grammar and history and just, you know, just textbooks, you know, just kind of like that assembly line that kids do in school. And I think that even a lot of relaxed homeschoolers who have a more relaxed approach, I keep saying relaxed, but that's what it is, we tend to kind of forget about that whole philosophy once our kids get to high school, and we start separating things into subjects again, which again, yes, it's something that I even tend to do, because even now, after having been through the experience of graduating my first homeschooler last year, it's still, you know, it gets you nervous, because again, it's such a huge responsibility. But what actually happened in my daughter's senior year of high school was homeschooling high school. She got a job, and they knew that she was homeschooled, so they started giving her, you know, the daytime hours that they couldn't give to a lot of other people, and to, or should I say a lot of other kids. So she started getting pretty many hours. Now, she was still just part-time, but she was getting pretty many hours. And what ended up happening was that she was having a hard time keeping up with all of the academic things that she had on her plate. And I did what a lot of homeschooling parents do. I started stressing out about it, you know, and I would get on her all the time. What did you get done today? You really need to get this done. You have to do this, this, and this. And this went on for a couple of months. And I know that there are a lot of parents who actually don't let their kids work through high school. I'm stumbling so much today. But anyway, they don't let their kids work through high school because they want to make sure that they can get that focus on the academics. So that's where I was at first. But then as I started watching her actions while she was working, I came to the realization that she was actually learning more through her outside interaction in the workforce than she was learning at home with all of those textbooks. Because being out at a job, being out in, quote, the real world, it actually had meaning for her. And all of these textbook assignments that she was having to do at home, it was just kind of something that she had to do just because it was assigned to her, but it wasn't really something that was going to have any effect on her life in the long run. So over time last year, what I realized was that I needed to stop giving her so much academic work, and I needed to trust the process of her becoming an adult. And it was really hard for me at first, but after I finally got it into my thick skull that this is what she needed, it's amazing the things that started to happen, because what I noticed was happening was, now I didn't stop all of her schoolwork completely. I just kind of lowered the amount that I was giving her, and because I realized that what she was doing every day at her job was educational, and that was actually something that was going to benefit her in the long run. But what I did start noticing was, even on her days off, she was starting to become more autodidactic. She was self-educating her stuff with things that didn't have anything to do with our homeschool routine. So she started drawing a lot more. Now my daughter, she's a very gifted artist, but she started drawing more often. She started talking to me about opening up her own online business to commission artwork. She had already been doing Japanese for years and had actually taught herself both forms of characters. I don't even remember what they're called, but the different writing styles that they use in Japan. She was learning those, and then she started teaching herself Russian through like online programs and books and those sorts of things. And what I noticed was that all of the things that she was doing in her spare time, those were the things that she was interested in, and those were the things that were actually going to have some sort of meaning for her after she graduated. So what ended up happening was, she graduated and her learning didn't stop. She would like to design games. I forget what it's called, game designer. And she started teaching herself C++ programming. So now graduation was already gone. This is no longer a high school student. She has graduated, but she started teaching herself C++. She continued on with the Russian, and she actually changed jobs. She works at a bookstore now, and she started buying herself books and workbooks in Russian. And what ended up happening was that I saw that she actually made a transition from a homeschooled high schooler to someone who truly is. I'm confident that she's going to be a lifelong learner. And I think that what really, really helped her with that was when I finally relaxed a little bit, because I realized that the things that she was doing that were not specifically assigned to her are the things that honestly mattered more. Because in reality, all of those subjects that she was learning in her 9th, 10th, and 11th grade year, I'm going to be honest with you, they probably have not helped her at all with anything. It was very schoolish. So it was kind of those things where she did the assignments, she took her quiz, and all of the information that she gathered in that time probably didn't have any sort of an impact on her. It was that everyday self-directed learning that she actually had a meaning to do, she had a meaning to pursue. That was what ended up mattering to her. So that is actually how, and I will also say this, she never enjoyed doing math. She was just never really a math person. But when she took her college placement tests, she knew that she was going to have to take a math portion. So what did she do? She didn't panic. She didn't say, "Oh, I did terrible, in math in school." But she didn't do terrible. She just didn't like it. But what did she do? She actually went on a math program online to start brushing up on her math. And that's what a lot of, especially unschoolers do, or relaxed homeschoolers. They if they know that they need something, if they have a reason to do something, they're going to find a way to do it. And that is exactly what she did. And that has really given me confidence in our relaxed homeschooling approach for high school, because my daughter has learned to love learning, and she's learned how to educate herself to find out what she needs to know and the things that she needs to do in order to get to point A, B, and C. And she knows how to conquer that now. And that is what I want to teach my kids when they're in high school. I'm not so concerned anymore with them being bogged down with all of these textbook assignments. I want them to learn to be adults. I want them to learn to be confident learners. I want them to love learning, and I want them to know how to find information when they need it. So that actually is going to tie in when I do shoot my curriculum video for you later on this week. You're going to see that this whole philosophy has actually come right into full force, come full circle back into the curriculum that I'm now using for her younger siblings. And actually, yes, this year again, I'm graduating another homeschooler this year. My third child, he will be graduating this year, and I've done pretty much the same thing with him. I've really integrated the things that he wants to do into it, and it has not been something that has been so schoolish, so traditional, that I think so many of us homeschoolers fall back on by default because we're scared and we think that this is the only way to do it. But the fact is that relaxed homeschool style, that works all the way up through high school. You just have to trust your kids and trust yourself. So if you have any comments or any questions, I promise you I will answer you. Sometimes it takes me a few days, but I will answer you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and you would like to do that, just press that button. And remember that later on this week, I will be sharing with you the actual relaxed homeschool, almost unschooling curriculum for my high schoolers. And I hope you tune in for that, and I hope you have a great day.